ask our political panelist all about it. Terry Schilling is the president of the American Principles Project, and Theron Bond is a Democratic strategist. So it's nice to see you both. And again, we played both of the clips. Might I point out that a lot of social media users are saying it's rather odd that she sounds so different in these clips, and she is in two different states. Theron, what did you hear? And does that showcase the vice president's authenticity here, or is there some calls for questioning about what's going on?
It gave me Southern Baptist preacher, and I say that as a person who was a girl raised in the South. She was playing to an audience in Detroit, which is also known for a lot of Black preachers. And then she played to a different audience in Pennsylvania. I think she just talked more to what she thought would resonate most with her audience. But honestly, it fell flat. It didn't do anything but cause good conversation on social media. It didn't add to or take away anything from her campaign.
No, a lot of folks weighing in on it. Terry, would love to get your thoughts as well.
Look, I think that this is exactly what the American people are sick of when it comes to politicians. They want a politician that's just who they are. They don't want someone that's playing to their audience. They want a politician, especially when it comes to the presidency, that's going to be who they are and tell the American people what they're going to do to help them, right? And there was a lot of things. Look, union households. Donald Trump got close to 50% of union households in 2020. The union vote, right? If you want to thank a union member, well, you should thank the ones that vote Republican, because their leadership has been supporting Democratic policies which are primarily responsible for us losing over 5 million union jobs from 2000 to 2016.
Yeah, it's interesting. Theron, did you want to respond? I was just wanting to point out Donald Trump looks the same and sounds the same at every rally he goes to, whether it's in rural Butler, Pennsylvania, or in the Bronx. Theron, your thoughts?
He does look and sound the same wherever he goes, despite how he may flip-flop on policies. And don't get me wrong, so does Vice President Harris. But if we talk about what supportive unions look like, Republicans, by and large, support many right-to-work states, including the state of Tennessee, which are very anti-union. So if we want to talk about which party best supports unions, we know those to be true to Democrats and not Republicans.
Terry, let's move on to who was campaigning with her yesterday. We saw President Biden for the very first time after taking what seemingly is a 2-week hiatus, going out there together on the campaign trail. How is that balancing act between Harris and Biden, separating herself to not being a Biden 2.0 when you knew one of the main reasons, despite what was said, of Biden dropping out of the race was because of the poor polling? He's seeing that this was not a winnable race. But if she goes on with the same messaging as Biden, it may be the same for her. How does she separate herself but also campaign with him at the very same time? Terry.
Well, if Kamala Harris hadn't done so much to hurt families like mine in the working class, I'd feel a lot more sympathy for her. But she has an impossible job to do, which is to simultaneously defend the track record of Joe Biden's economy and his policies that have put us in a very weak spot, not just in the economy, but also globally. She has to campaign for him, because if she distances herself from him, then she's no longer a moderate and she'll lose a large part of her base. But she also has the impossible task of painting a different picture. How is she going to improve the lives? What is she going to change about the first term of Biden? And that's a very tricky spot, and I don't see her having a clear path forward here.
It's incredibly close, according to polling. I believe we've got one to share for you specifically in Pennsylvania. So this Emerson poll, again, 49% there. And I mean, it's tied. We are just over 60 days out from Election Day. Early voting is going to start this month in Pennsylvania. So what needs to happen from a Democratic perspective, a strategist perspective, for the Harris campaign to really break away from Donald Trump?
This is going to be like a 2008, 2016 nail biter. We're all going to be sitting on edge till the very end because every team keeps flip-flopping. What would be in Vice President Harris's best interest is to distance herself from President Joe Biden. She's already got the job. We already know she's VP. What else does she need to do to show her connection to Joe Biden? Absolutely nothing. But she does need to show a strong stance about who she will be if she is indeed elected president. She needs to improve her message messaging. She needs to probably visit some more red states and grab up any possible smaller voting blocks. And she really needs to go after those independent voters.
Yeah, independent voters could be the big key here. Obviously, they're in the battleground states as well. Terry, jumping to this poll, too, talking about the race, the presidential race probability of winning. This is conducted by Nate Silver in 538. It shows Trump leading in both the Electoral College and predicted Electoral College. Harris leading in the popular vote and predicted vote share. Seemingly, again, a rehash of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump matchup. Terry, your thoughts here on moving forward 63 days from Election Day?
Well, it's definitely a jump ball, right? This is going to come down to the wire. I completely agree. Donald Trump needs to continue to hone in on his contrast message, how things were when he was president versus how things have been under the Biden-Harris administration. It's a very clear picture. Ask yourselves, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? That's the most obvious answer that he can keep having the American voters ask themselves, because the answer is so clear. Things were better in the economy, things were better globally, and things were much better in our schools when we had someone in the White House who could crack down on all this crazy stuff that's being forced on parents and kids.
Got to leave it right there. Terry Schilling and Theron Bond, thank you both for your time. We do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.